this going? Hey, it's me, Lori. Welcome back to another show, A Voice in the Dark. Hopefully a comforting voice that will help you get through your day or evening. We all have different lives, it's for sure. And I just wanted to be here for you in case, you just need somebody to listen to, somebody to feel close to when things aren't going so good. And sometimes we find ourselves in life under stressful conditions. Sometimes it's war for older folks, and sometimes it's a war at home, in the house. And you're tense all the time, because you know at a certain time something's going to happen, or it could happen, and it tends to make you, a little aware constantly. Sometimes you just don't feel safe in your own home, and I understand that. Most of the time when parents or adults fight, it's just their personalities going at each other because they're scared in some form. Things are not being taken care of the way they both think they should. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's, just life. Sometimes it's just them. They just don't know what to do with themselves. And, a lot of times, adults just don't always realize that fighting and screaming every day with each other because they're getting their stress out with each other, what it does to the children in the home. It makes us nervous. It makes us anticipate a certain level of what's going to happen next when the family's all together. I learned after time what those feelings were. It took a long time because it's just our natural environment. A lot of things go on behind closed doors at home that the rest of the world doesn't see. So we don't have anybody to tell. I mean, nobody can help us because they don't know, And every once in a while you get lucky and a neighbor knows, and she'll feed you breakfast on the way to school because she knows you didn't get fed breakfast that morning. So I was blessed that way. But my biggest blessing came as I got a little older. The fighting never stopped between my mother and father. It just never did. And they were both very strong people, very powerful, and they could go nose to nose. And my father was an ex-football player, college level. He quit in college when he almost killed somebody. But they were bigger than life, my parents. And I think most parents are to us kids when we're kids. And parents don't realize that they need to work together, not to scare the children. But they get caught up in their people. And I know that we're children and we're looking up at them like they're gods, and sometimes they're scary gods. And but all in all, they're just people having problems, and they don't realize that it affects you. But as I got a little older, I found that if I sit in nature quietly, sometimes I just played with a stick, played in the mud, but eventually I started talking to God in nature. Now you can talk to angels, you can talk to aliens, you can talk to the air, talk to the tree. Trees are a wealth of information. All of nature is, actually. Find a way to communicate the things that you're feeling to God. God can't change your home life, but He can add a dimension to your beingness that will help you get through everything and help guide you and bring a strength to your heart and your being that says, I am worthy of everything that's good, and that I will survive this, no matter what it is. And continue that conversation. Number one, it frees you. It frees you up because you're actually talking about the feelings that you really have, true feelings. Fear. Fear is the big one. And you want to really get rid of the fear. And I always suggest when you get old enough to get help as early as you can, 18. Go get help with a professional, psychiatrist, counselor. Get through this childhood traumas as quickly as possible so that the rest of your life can be spent in joy and adventure of finding out who you really are and what you're capable of. We're all capable of unlimited things. The universe is our oyster, and we should find a way quickly to love it and create a world we want to see. But first, you got to forgive everybody. And that takes time. In my description box, there is always a list of national phone numbers for abuse, trafficking, anything you might need, whoever you are out there. Because I care. I care that when the time comes and you are big enough to make a difference in your own life and ask for help, that it's the information's always there for you. It's not fun when our family fights. It's not fun when anybody fights, actually. But don't let it become that part of you that rules you as you get older. It's a shame, but we need to look at our parents as people, individual beings who have lived the best they could with what they knew. Now, you know better. You know a little more, so you can forgive them. Doesn't mean what they did was right and that you're forgiving what they did. You're forgiving them because you realize that they are a soul in search of truth, in experiences with as little or as much as they have knowledge for. A lot of people are ignorant to what they are doing. Usually there's drugs and alcohol involved of some sort. And an ego, a lot of ego. They're fighting for space. They're fighting to be heard. They're fighting to be right between the two of them. So find ways, when the weather was bad, I would stay in my room. Sometimes I'd bring my little sister in. And we'd read. And we'd read all the books we could find. Reading's good for you because it shows you that even though it's usually fiction, it still is based on real life things. And they can help give you strength and viewpoints and something to hang on to called hope and faith. And once you start playing with the universe, because I always played with God or the universe, the angels, whatever you want to call them, I would sit outside and say, I know I'm not supposed to ask you to prove yourself to me because I'm just supposed to know, but I need to know you're listening to me. Can you make a feather fall here in front of me? Or let me see one today so I know that you're listening? Start playing with the universe. Ask them, what can I do now you can't fix other people. All you can do is fix yourself. And so ask, what can I do now to help myself? And you'll get a little thought in your head or an image. You get a feeling. And do it. Follow through. Learn to find your intuition. And the biggest thing is that I have found that helps the most, because I always tell people, take 3 deep breaths and slow yourself down. And then deep breathe for a while, 5-10 minutes. Just focus on breathing deep. Let your stomach rise because you want to take a full breath. And then slowly let it come in and pull it. And it has to be comfortable. Don't push yourself. But give yourself some tools to get through what you put up with at home. And if it gets really bad and you're that scared, you talk to somebody at school. You talk to somebody at the doctor's office, police station, whatever you got to do. But if they aren't hurting you physically, they won't do a whole lot, really. But maybe they'll talk to them. And sometimes you can help change what's going on in the house, and sometimes you cannot. Most of the time you cannot, because it's 2 individual souls going at it. And that's all I know. And they were brought up with a drunk in the house. And they were a druggie. Somebody that wasn't able to be in the present moment. And that ruins it for the partnership, because one partner is right here now all the time, and the other one is out in La La Land. And it does not make it easy to exist. And you got to understand that a lot of women are afraid to walk away because they don't know how they'll make a living. And so when you're scared, if the weather's too bad, stay indoors. But read a lot. I don't care what you read, but read. And it's a good place to go when you're scared. And you know the drill. You know the exact drill at home, what's going to happen. And then when you can and the weather's good, go sit outside. First chance you get, start your day that way, end your day that way. Talking to God or the universe, whatever, fairies, I don't care. Yourself. Your soul's very real, and it's with you all the time. So deep breathe a lot. Take minutes here and minutes there, and take moments. I know what it's like to grow up in what seems like a battle zone every day. And I didn't fix myself and address it until I was my age right now. And I'm 62. Don't wait that long. You pass up a lot of life that way. And it was never your fault. It's never your fault. You need to know that. I care about everyone, and even the lost and the mean, and I feel sorry for them. But it's the victims that I want to be able to help cross the bridge to a non-victim. And it takes time, it takes a little work, honesty, and a fearlessness to say, I am worthy of more. I am worthy, and this is not my problem. And start focusing on what you would like your life to be like when you're able to get free. Because we all do get free eventually. Sometimes your situations are bad. I know they are. They're a lot worse than anything I went through. But we're all at different levels. And you will always find that you're always in the middle of anywhere you could be. There's always going to be somebody that has it worse. There's always going to be somebody that has it better. But they are not your direction. They are not your comparison. So don't compare yourself to anyone. Each one of us is very unique. And it's our pain It's our fear, and it's our life that we're growing into. So you find ways to help yourself grow into you. And pray a lot for your parents or the adults in your life. Just pray for them. God will see your heart, and maybe he'll find ways to help you. But I'm not going to guarantee that now, because we all have karma and we all have life paths that we're walking down. And that's something you can learn when you get older. It seems complicated sometimes, life. But it really is. If you stay in the present moment and deep breathe and talk to nature and play with the universe, God hears you and he watches. And he will help. There's angels, they help. So become fearless and limitless at the possibilities of what you're capable of becoming yourself. Focus on yourself. Become a good human being. And, try to ignore the noise, the screaming and hollering. It sucks, I know. My sister, my youngest sister, she wouldn't even talk till she was 7. And it's hard to live in that kind of environment. So, no matter how much you try to help each other, but reading is one of the best avenues to use. Knowledge is good. Any kind of knowledge, even if it's in fiction stories. And get to know your inner voice and learn to follow it. Learn to deep breathe and know it's not your fault. And this isn't your problem. It's theirs. Step aside. Find a way to really, really understand that. And find ways to better yourself and see what you want in your life. So, in the description box, I'll also have a link to the current picture that we can color. Sorry, I've done this kind of backwards, I guess. This was a tough subject matter for me because no one likes to talk about what they live through. And there was a lot of screaming, hollering, violence. And I was the kid that took on most of the damage, collateral damage. And I just want you to know that eventually you'll be able to forgive them and see them in a totally different light. But right now, you probably can't, and that's okay. But I know you're going to starve for their attention, so you're going to love them, and you're going to try to make them happy. And sometimes they won't be happy no matter what you do. And that's on them, not you. You did not come in this world to make them happy. You came into this world to become what you're meant to be. So focus on that. Who knows what it is? I mean, you might be an artist, you might be a musician, you might be an engineer. There's a whole new world opening up to the universe now, and sky's the limit. There are no limits, not anymore. So you focus on you finding peace as often as you can, and you make a connection with the universe because it's important for you to have that. And nobody can tell you what your personal relationship will be with the universe because it's personal. You came here for different lessons. You came here to clear out a bunch of old crap from your past and past lives. and whatever you believe in is fine. But there are things in your life that you will find that don't make sense from this reality, this lifetime. And then you'll know. When you get older, or if you're older now, find a good therapist that does hypnotherapy and does past life regression work. It works miracles in your life if you utilize it. It'll remove a lot of blocks. It'll remove, when we identify something in ourselves that we do that we're not happy or comfortable with, that is, as soon as we can see it and identify it, it goes away because, we've seen what it was. And so learn to let things go by seeing them. And just like meditating, when you start meditating, deep breathing's the biggest importance in the whole thing. But eventually, sometimes you really start getting inner messages. And one of the things that your mind will always, come up with another storyline while you're trying to deep breathe and meditate. You can't clear your mind, but you can acknowledge every time it pops up, oh, I'm stuck on this thought. It'll go away. Another one will come in, but eventually it all does kind of, your mind will eventually say, well, shit, she don't want to listen to any of this. And we'll quiet down. It takes time. That takes a long process and practice. And you might find that you have spiritual gifts. Empathy. Empaths are really important for the world because they are more in tune with the soul. They're more in tune with the source that everything's made out of in the whole universe. And empaths have there's different types of empaths. Some can tell that you're sick physically and almost tell you what it is because they feel it. Some are empaths that understand and feel your soul, somebody's soul, and where they're lost and where they're lying. And that's a hioki. That's a number one empath. They're old souls, and their energy fields are meant to change people, transform them. And I'm one of those. And I mean, you come into this different things. Who knows what it is? You might be psychic. Different forms of abuse create an inwardness that we go into to hide. And it opens up our spiritual gifts. So learn what those might be, and then watch yourself. See what's coming through for you. And then find people you can talk to. And because you really need to understand how to use those gifts. Talk to your angels or whatever you talk to. And spiritual gifts are not always accepted by everyone. Religion is how we worship our gods, whatever it is, universe. But our spiritual presence in the world is important, and it does have gifts that are God-given. We all have them. We're all gods and goddesses that we're on a training trip, journey to become the best we can be. And the best that we can be is eventually we'll come into total unconditional love. However, there are bad people. There are bad things. And they come in all different sizes, shapes, and degrees of badness. It is not our job to fix them. It's not our job to hold their hand. It is our job to send love and light and blessings and leave them to their own thing, because it's an inside job. Our spiritual path is an inside job. It's our spiritual quest is our personal relationship with the universe and God. God is all it is. And when you're in a lot of violence and screaming and hollering, when you're a kid, that's violence, because you're scared. It scares you. You don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know if they're going to throw the furniture or throw food, or, my dad picked up a table one time, and it was full of money because we had a tavern, and he picked it up. He was pissed because he couldn't take any of it, and he threw it across the room. I mean, me and my cousin, I had her come with me, and we hid in the bathroom because she goes, "What are we doing? We're hiding in here." And I said, "Oh, my dad's getting ready to blow up. Watch this." And we peeked out a crack at the door, and he picked that whole kitchen table up and threw it. And I mean, money went everywhere. My mom was so mad. I thought, "Oh my gosh, she's going to shoot him." So anyway, that was just one day. But you always know when it's coming. So find a way to go hide and, get away from it. And do everything you can to stay in peace for yourself. Let them go at it. It's their problem, not yours. If it's violent and it's coming against you, you find help. There's plenty of help out there. Use your voice. But so you trust yourself. You'll be guided properly by Spirit. And I don't know. I enjoyed going outside and talking to God. I used to church hop a lot. I did all kinds of things because it was God that I was looking for. I wasn't finding it at home. But I found other things, though. And they fought every day, but there were peaceful times. And my parents weren't that bad. I loved them, They were fun, too. And that's where it gets confusing because, then they're having a good mood. I mean, but if, it's hard to live with a drunk is what I'm going to tell you. It's hard for any partnership to survive and not, without fights when there's one partner or the other that is on drugs or alcohol. Heavy, because they can't be present with their partner. So the partner feels left alone and unloved and uncared for. So they fight. And it's only becoming in the last 30 years that people were willing, women especially, to walk away from violence. It used to be that's just how it was. My grandparents did it. Their grandparents did it. This is a legacy of alcoholism and fighting. And break the legacy. Make it stop with you. And God bless. Remember to get your coloring page. And I hope that you all find a place in faith because you ask the universe to prove itself to you. You learn what your power is. And it may take time. I don't know how old you are. I don't know. Maybe you've already been through all the hell, which is even better because that means you're old enough to go out and take care of the problems inside of you and still create that relationship with Spirit. Love you. God bless. And healings to everyone. Don't give up. Don't ever give up, no matter what. Have a good night. A voice in the dark. Lori.